Hey there, my name is Aaron Hughes and I'm the real estate investing copywriter. In this video, I'm going to give you a very powerful strategy that you can use in your marketing and your copywriting to help you connect with your motivated sellers and cash buyers and get them to do more deals with you. Before I tell you what the strategy is, let me take you back about 100 years in American history to about 1920 or so. Maybe it was 1930, but it was right in that range. And things were different back then. Obviously, we know many things were different, but one thing that you may not have known is that at the time, Americans did not brush their teeth very often. They just let nature take its course. They would eat, and then they would just let whatever happen to their teeth. And they would live with the bad breath and the tooth pain and the tooth decay until a dentist would come along and would pull their teeth. So there were people selling like toothpaste or tooth powder at the time, and they were trying to get Americans to brush their teeth. But it hadn't been a habit in history. And so it was hard to start this new habit for people, even though the benefits of tooth care were very obvious. But one copywriter, now you may not have heard of him, but he's well known in the world of copywriting. One copywriter changed everything in America and completely transformed dental care in America. And all he did was maybe not the things that you might expect. He didn't necessarily talk about pain, tooth pain, or fresh breath that your spouse might like to smell. He didn't talk about saving money at the dentist, or what happens if you lose all your teeth at a young age. Those might have been pieces of his copy, but the real clever innovation that he did, and it completely transformed American dental health. He said, if you run your tongue across your teeth and it feels fuzzy, your tongue kind of feels that fuzziness on your teeth, then that means you need to brush your teeth. So he didn't say, brush your teeth after every meal, or you should always brush your teeth before bed, or you should do this or do that. He just said, run your tongue across your teeth, and if your teeth feel fuzzy, brush your teeth. And that changed everything in American dental care. People did the fuzzy tooth test with their tongue, and that it prompted them to buy toothpaste and brush their teeth, and suddenly people started taking care of their teeth. And the habit of toothbrushing was born. Now you might think that, okay, that's a weird, maybe a little bit of a gross fact to know, and what does it have to do with real estate investing? So here's what it has to do with it. You've probably heard of emotional triggers. It's very popular to talk about right now, especially in the news. People are triggered by, things in politics, things in healthcare. So there's lots of stuff about emotional triggers. We're not going to talk about emotional triggers. Let's put that aside. But we're going to talk about another kind of trigger, a physical trigger. And that's really what transformed American dental care by this one copywriter. Is he created that physical trigger of the tongue and the fuzzy tooth test, and it prompted people to start brushing their teeth. He didn't start a habit, he just created the trigger, and the trigger is what prompted the habit to begin, and it changed a nation. It's really, really quite remarkable. So you might be wondering, how can you use this in real estate investing? So here's the great news, is that your audiences, whoever they happen to be, most of the time it's motivated sellers, cash buyers, or other real estate investors, they will have things that can become physical triggers that you can kind of connect to your service. So in the same way that the copywriter from 100 years ago was like hired by a toothpaste company, and he found this physical trigger, and the physical trigger was the fuzzy tooth test. Now, here's how you can use that in your real estate investing business. Think of a time that your motivated sellers might be experiencing something physically, and that you can use that to prompt them to call you. So one thing you might consider doing is every time you open a bill from, a creditor or every time your bank sends you another reminder that your payment is due. When you hear that envelope tearing, you call us and we will put your house under contract and give you a fast cash offer or whatever. So that's an example, that envelope tearing is an example of a physical trigger that you might communicate to motivated sellers. What about cash buyers? So with cash buyers, I have sometimes used physical triggers like when you're laying awake at night and you don't know what to do about your retirement. You're worried, you're worried sick about your retirement. Then that's when you should be connecting with us to get a cash flowing property. Another physical trigger that cash buyers have might be when you are talking to your spouse about your investments and they want to know, like, is the stock market too risky? Then that's a great time to talk to us about investing in a property, a cash flowing property. And another trigger that I've used is with cash buyers is when you're at Thanksgiving dinner and your brother-in-law is boasting about how he's going to win big in the stock market, then you can kind of sit back and feel real confident because you have an amazing plan of cash flow that you don't have to worry about the ups and downs of the stock market. So that's another physical trigger, is kind of like Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. So it doesn't matter who your audience is. I've used motivated sellers and cash buyers as two examples, but there's lots of other audiences that you might be working with from, if you might do funds and syndications, you might work with investors for that. You might be work with borrowers because you're a hard money lender, or you might work with other real estate investors because you're like an expert, a guru, a speaker, a coach, that kind of thing. So all of those audiences will have physical triggers that you can attach to your service in some way. So it's just a matter of finding what is a unique and memorable physical experience that they're having that you can kind of connect with your service and kind of create that physical trigger that will remind them to talk to you or to use your service. You just have to kind of look at who your specific audience is and then kind of work backwards from there. My name is Aaron Hughes. I'm the real estate investing copywriter. And if you want more tips and tools and strategies to help you do more deals, head over to realestateinvestingcopywriter.com.